It takes away the value from the gold. So it has to highlight the value of that gold. That person has to put it in the furnace, in the oven, and he is going to clean it till he can see, oh, it is good, it is valuable, it is worthy. And it becomes something that we can use nowadays. It is through that fire that we can appreciate these minerals, these stones. And we can see this aspect in this story from the Bible, a very known story from Daniel and his friends, where they have to be different. And that we want to see tonight that before every great purpose, God has a great process. Many times you see people, religion nowadays, you see that, hey, come here, that God is going to give you. You are going to have a house, a mansion, a car, a place in the Mediterranean, and God is going to give it to you. And many times they skip or overstep that process to take that purpose. Everything in this life, God made it in that way. Even the human system that we're living in, there is a process so you can have a purpose, so you can take the purpose. You're not born and the next day you are as a baker, as a builder. There was a process. You took classes, kindergarten, primary, processes, till you get that things that nowadays young people in that educational aspect, they don't want to have that process. They want easy things, easy money. And he sees some people and say, why can he do it and I can't do it? But he can't see the process. He can't see they don't see the process that they go graduated, that they studied and many things, and they just see the diploma and at the end, but they don't see the process they go through, that person goes through. But they that hard work, that are hardworking, that everything has they know that everything has a value. God says to Adam that with the sweat of your work, you are going to get things. And God said, no, you lost this privilege because of the sin, so you have to go through a process. And in this case, it's not different. God took those guys from blessing to blessing. But God, and you ask, God, what else do you want with this guy? They are eating vegetables and eating water, and they were smarter, they were better than the others. And you are going to say, but why another trial? That God wants to purify us for another purpose, for something that He likes it. Even more, God said to the prophet when he was talking to the... But there was another purpose, another plan from God to your life. And God says, no, I have to break this vase. I have to break this vase. I don't want him as he is. I have to break him, another oven, another process, so I can take something better from that. So he can be a vase of honor and glory. We cannot see that there are some steps in this life so we can achieve that process, that purpose that God has with us. There are things that God are doing right now while we are seeing the glory of God. But we have to know that it is not from night to morning, that there's a process to get to that purpose that God has to us. And we see that there is a first step. Separation. we split the candidate or that person that he wants to put in the oven. In verse 14, God said that if they don't bow down to the sculpture, they are going to go to the oven. And we see that all the people bow down to that sculpture when the music started. But there were 3 people that they saw, and but the advisors of the king, they said, look, they are different, and God is going to make that you look different from the other people, because it is with you that God has a plan. It is with you that God wants to do something, and he has to make a distinction. And they saw 3 people that didn't bow down to Nebuchadnezzar's statue. But there are many people that this first step, they skip it, that they don't like it. They say, no, it is not, I don't want to. And they get back to that plan, to that purpose that God has with them. But why? Because in that moment, you have to make the difference, because you are not like the other people. Like, all the other people are on this scene, are seen in this, are giving up on this scene. And you are going to say, but how? I am the only Christian. I am the only one in the work at university that don't go according to the things of the world. I don't know how to handle this situation. Don't tremble. Be like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Show that you are different, that you are a son of God, that you are a saved person, that you have liberty, freedom in the blood of Jesus. He is split. He makes a division from the world. Here is not darkness anymore. In one time, the Lord had to say to his disciples, you are the light of the world. You cannot hide under the table. I show you. You have to show, because you are a different people. So the other people can see it, that the people in this world that is a world of darkness can see the light, that they can see that you are a Christian, that you are a son of God, that you have principles, values, biblical values, that you can see that you believe that God created women and men, that God created a family, that God loved so much this world that he sent his only begotten Son. And he will return. So you have to stand up and make a difference. They were there, and they didn't bow down, and they didn't worship. And it was this first step, the separation. There was also the number 2. And you can say, okay, I'm going to stand up, and they are going to see me on just like that. But there's also step number 2, the conviction. Your conviction and my conviction will be proof test. You can see all the women, they have skirts. They don't say anything. It's skirts. So they walk like this, they talk like this, but they don't say anything. But your conviction will be proof, will be tested. We can see in verse 14, Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, call them. I gave an order, and they are not doing it. You cannot defy the order, because it's a rule here. So call them so I can see what is happening. But God, those are the ones that are over the departments of here. They are not thanking you by worshiping you. They are not respecting your position, because it is in that way that the devil is going to do. They are saying, the devil is saying, oh, that person is like this or like that, and they are not respecting that position that you are giving. You have to take away all those things so you can see all the things that are surrounding you. That your condition has to be tested. It is not just from your lips. Convictions are something that you are living in your at work, in your school, at home. Your conviction has to be there. The Lord told his people in the epistles to always have a reason to have hope, for that hope. So when people ask you, how are you? I'm like that. I'm going through. But say when somebody asks you, I was like this, I was like that, but Christ saved me. Before I was thinking about death, before I was thinking about suicide, but in this way, I have an encounter with Jesus, and he gave me hope. You have to speak with conviction. You have to speak about God above all. In these times that people is taking the pulse, because you are entering the kingdom of darkness, and their king is the devil, and he is not going to they're not going to leave them. And you cannot say, I don't remember in the Bible, but the pastor said. And when somebody asked me, oh, I saw you preaching. I didn't know that you were a preacher. I know that you were a Christian, but I didn't know that you were a preacher. You can do something like that? Yes, you can do something like that if you come to Christ. A friend told me. I thought that just the pastor preach. No, all the people can preach. And God said, go to all the world and preach. And those people that preach, they have to prepare themselves. Because God said to all the people, preach and say that I died, but I'm coming. And the barber said, can I preach also? And I said, yes, you can. You have to come to Jesus, and you can you can be a fisher of souls. It is true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you are not worshiping that statue of gold that I raised up. And he said, Nebuchadnezzar said, okay, I'm going to give you an opportunity. I'm going to do like nothing happened here. How many times at school, at university, at your work, your friends, I remember I was 13, 14, a Christian at school. One day we were leaving school, and I had some friends at school, and they knew that I was a Christian. And I heard them. Today we are going to test Jair. Let's go to the bus station. And we were going through the streets, like the center of the town. And they entered to a bar, and I was going through. You're going to do your things, and I'm not going to stop by, and they can see that I am at a bar. And I continue walking. They bought quickly, and they started running, and they started opening their bottles. Come, drink with us. You know that I don't drink. Each one of us has a bottle. Don't waste my money. Please drink it. But don't, and I don't drink. But that's nothing. Christ drunk wine. It is nothing. Look, drink. And I said, I don't drink. Thank you. And at the entrance of the school, they were there. And they said, no, he is a Christian. He is a true Christian. We were testing him yesterday with the drinks. We tested him, and he didn't drink. And from that day, there was a respect, because I was a Christian. I am a Christian. There was a respect because you made the difference. You made a difference. You allowed that conviction to be proved, to be tested. We have to say, we have to tell all the things that all the times that our conviction was tested. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because he said, if you don't worship him, and in this same hour I'm going to kill you. Here I am the king. And if you don't do that, I will kill you. The devil is going to put you between the sword and the wall. And he is going to test what you are, that you are a true Christian. And Nebuchadnezzar said, what God is the one that he is going to deliver you from my hands? And it was the time where he... And didn't you think that he heard about the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? And I tested them at the beginning, and they passed the test. But I just heard the God of Israel, we're going to see how is this. What God is going to deliver them from my hand. And here is the answer. This is a conviction. What did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said in verse 16? And what did he say? Sorry, king, but we're not going to speak about this today. You know that we are Christians. You know that we believe in the God that saved our parents. And even here, that in the place that we are, he has a purpose with us. It's necessary that we discuss this. Calm down, king, that you can do whatever you have to do, but we're not going to waste our time here. You cannot waste your time with the devil. Maybe I can you lower the burden. You cannot discuss with the enemy. Maybe God said or he didn't say, because maybe he did or he didn't. And here starts the doubt, the fundamentals of the conviction. And if you're not ready with the sword, bam! And he will chase you, and he will cut you. And you can. They said, King, I'm not going to discuss this. I serve God, and that's it. What's more, King? Our God, the one that he is not going to deliver us, that you said that he's not going to deliver us, he has the power to deliver us. He can deliver us. And if he doesn't deliver us, because we believe in his sovereignty and his power, we are not going to doubt. You are not going to win. Even if you kill us, you are not going to win. The conviction is tested. And we see step number 3. And if you see something more, something else, you can compare with that gold that that you put it in the oven, and you take it and put it, and take it and put it, and you can see that it is shining. And you are going to see in step number 3 that you are going to feel that pressure. And at the beginning, I just stand up. Then I have to talk, but now I have to feel the pressure. And people is going to say, okay, he's saying this, and is he from God? Let's test him. You have to stand still on the rock, because that rock is not going to let you fall down. And and the pressure is going to come. The Bible said the king was really angry. The face of the king he was so mad, so angry, that smoke was coming out of his ears. And he said, what is this? These 3 poor people, I saved them the last year, and they are believing and I don't know what. But please, they said, please, turn it up 7 times more. You are going to feel the pressure, and you are going to feel that you can't. That the pressure to the sides, in front, behind. And you have to take into account that diamonds are formed under pressure. That stone that you can see on rings, that it is so beautiful, it is not like that. It is not. We cannot take it like that from the soil. It is like. It is not like that. It is like coal, but it is fire and pressure. Fire and pressure, and they can see. Okay, it is like clear, but again, fire and pressure, fire and pressure. And while it is this process, the diamond is, oh my God, what is this process? Oh my God, God help me, God help me. And he says, okay, we are missing some more. Brightness. And God is going to say, okay, he is where I want him. He makes the difference. He has a conviction. He spoke about me. He talked about me. So I'm going to put a little more pressure where the devil can see not only the coal he sees, but the diamond that God sees. When they see this coal, when they saw this coal, it's going to be a diamond that is so clear that they're going to see through it. That pressure is going to come. These boys were tied up. And they wrapped them up like a sandwich with their own clothes and tied up from his hands with all his clothes, all his garments. And they were And they put them inside the furnace. And he hit up the furnace 7 times more. And nowadays this comes to my mind, that his garment, they were with his clothes, and the devil wants to tie up all the things from your mind, because you are not walking like you are not walking like the worldly, or thinking like the worldly. And because the order from the king was to heat it up 7 more times, the ones that took them into the furnace, and this fire was so much that you may think, oh my God, I love you, but not this much. It was something that can make someone say, well, Lord, I'm going to worship this idol, this statue a little bit, and tomorrow I'm going to ask for forgiveness. That was a fire so terrible that it killed the guards that took those boys, those people, to the furnace. And what is something particular from the fire? That the heat burns. That the furnace was 7 times more heated up. You could feel that heat from the furnace, and they could feel the heat, and they were sweating, and they said, oh my God, what is this? And they are sweating and sweating and sweating, and they are arriving to the furnace. And my brother, we cannot imagine in that moment, because we can think with the human mind. You can just close your eyes and say, I'm going to close my eyes and I wake up in the heaven. But with that conviction, that firm conviction, they were, okay, I'm going, I'm feeling the fire, I'm feeling the pressure, but I'm not going back. I'm not going to say no. Here we are. Under pressure, under fire. But here we are, Lord. That is conviction. That is conviction. Watching others falling down dead, they didn't say, okay, I'm going to worship him, please. But in any moment they said something like that. They were firm. Here comes step number 4. You and I are going to enter fire. There's people that say, oh, I have a conviction. But when they see the Lord is going to deliver me from that thing that you are saying, and anyways, if it doesn't happen, I'm going to worship you. You said that you are going to free us up. And when they are arriving to fire, they change and they let go of the things, all the conviction, and they don't know that in that furnace is the greatest process that God wants to take you to have a big purpose. Because, but what you don't know is that you have to enter that fire, because God has something in it for you. And you can say, oh, that was what it was there. We can hear some people testify, with tears in their eyes. I was nothing. I don't know what God sees in me. I don't know what. I don't know where was I, but God took me. And with tears in his eyes, this is all the things, all these things I owe to the Lord, because I didn't know I was in that condition that I was. They thought that everything was done, that was over, and God showed me this, and this. But God said, "Come, but you have to go through this process, because all these things you can take all these things away, but with the fire." But you can see some people are hanging from one process to other, because they are looking for soap, bleach, soap, because they want to clean the things that only fire can clean. And they fell and stand up and stood up, and they fell and stood up. But a Christian cannot walk like this, like the waves of the sea. That is unstable. The things that God didn't establish for us, that want to, that God doesn't want us to have. In verse 25, in verse 24 and 25, Nebuchadnezzar started. Okay, I took them to the fire. Who else wants to go? And they started, King, something is happening. What? Something's happening? I put them in the fire. They have to be dead in this fire that I fire 7 more times. But King, look to the furnace. And the king saw, but there were 3 people. I'm not a fool. I know how to count. They were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. There were not 3. And the guards were like, yes. There were 3. They are 4, but there are 3. Don't take me to that place also. There are 3. They are 4, but I can see 4, but they are 3. But the king was, I can see 4 people. And you have to stop in these details. I see 4 men untied. I put them there tied up, and I can see 4 men, and they are untied. Why 4? Because there was God. The presence of God was there. We can see their presence and freedom through fire, where the enemy thought, okay, I got him. God says, bam, presence and freedom. Untied. You are on fire, but praise me. You are on fire, but worship me. You are on fire, but serve me. Do it. Your presence is with you. Don't stay like that. Untied. Presence and freedom. Why? Because where the Spirit of God is, there's freedom. And there were freedom in the midst of fire. And you know how it continues. This testimony of Nebuchadnezzar, he says, he said they were walking in the midst of the fire and they have no heart. They are walking in the midst of fire. And they were like, oh, okay, it is hot in here, but okay, it is warm, it is good. Here is the Lord, here is the presence, freedom. We are in fire, in the furnace, but the Lord is here. They were walking in the midst of the fire. It says that in the midst of fire, because there are some people that say, what happened, brother? Oh, my brother, I am through in a process. I'm in a trial. You don't imagine. This shows the contrary. That you can walk in the midst of the fire. You can move in the midst of the fire. This walking, it talks about action, that there's life, that God is with you, that He is not going to let you die. And He has a purpose with you. And through that process, you can enjoy the process, that you can enjoy the moment, because they are taking something good from you, because the presence of God is there, so nothing is going to harm you. The presence of God is there. So have action, have life. Not because you are in the fire, you are going to say, no, I can't do it. No, I can't do it. I cannot go on with you to evangelize, because I am through a process. I'm going through a process, and only God knows. A sentence that some people say, only God knows. Only God knows. But because God said, because God knows, you can move, you can be in action. I know it's hard, it's difficult, but there God is doing something. There God is working. God is doing something in your character, in your heart, in your mind. I have to keep moving. I have to demonstrate that there's life in Jesus. Even if I am in the midst of fire, that is what God said to the Pharisees. He said, don't be like them, that they are in a corner in anguish. But please, when you are fasting and praying, put the best clothes on you, and that nobody notices that you are going through a process. Didn't the Lord say that? He said that. The fire of the process to prevent you from walking. You have to walk, to continue walk. There's sometimes that where pressure, that fire, where there is just that they're growing, that only tears, that sometimes you are at the altar on your bed, that you have that moments of prayer that where there are no words. Don't worry, raise up your hands and enjoy that furnace. Glorify God through that fire. God, you are great. I am going through this or through that, but I glorify you. I serve you because you are greater than all of these, because I know that you have a purpose at the end of this trial. The only thing that you have to say, please, Lord, help me going through the fire, and then skip this process. Purify me and mold me so I can go through that process and make it out. I know that it is hard and that I cannot stand this furnace, but I know that the blessing is going to be 7 times greater. Let's see verse 26 and 27. And we can look here, my brother, because there was a miracle. On verse 26, it says, Nebuchadnezzar came near to the furnace, the same furnace that was heated 7 times more. But you can see how God is. He let a little space so Nebuchadnezzar can see that I have the control over this process. Open a little bit so Nebuchadnezzar can see how it is, how the things are. It says Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the fiery furnace. The fire was in the furnace. And he said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come here. The one that put you there is going to use it to take you out. Because they are going to see what the Lord is doing with you. He said, no, go back, because that person I'm going to use it because he is the end of that process. So they came out from of the midst of the fire. God controls the fire, the process. And it's hard, it is difficult, I don't know how to do it. Don't worry, God controls the fire. God controls it. It is there. It is there. Don't worry. Everything that is outside it, He is going to control it. God is going to control it. It means He decides when you get in and when you get out. He allowed Nebuchadnezzar to go and took them out. He is not going to burn him. I don't know what he's felt, because if you see that the furnace is with fire that is hot, I don't know what God allowed, but the guy, Nebuchadnezzar, said, okay, I'm going. And God is great, God is good. And that Nebuchadnezzar, when he said 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and without realizing it, he was with his head in the furnace. Counting 1, 2, 3, 4. There are the things that only God can do. He decides when you get in and when you get out. We can see that God allows Nebuchadnezzar to see his power because he's the real sovereign. Because Nebuchadnezzar said, if you don't worship me, I will kill you. And God said, okay, Nebuchadnezzar, can you control fire? I can put my hand there and control it. It was like a slap in the face of Nebuchadnezzar. Step number 5, on verses 28 and 29, God receives the glory. We cannot forget that. There's people that get out of the furnace. Don't touch me. Don't look me. Don't talk me. Don't talk to me. I have the glory of God. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Please give me a veil. Don't look at me. I'm like Moses. You take away the glory from me. The one that goes out from the process, God receives the glory. What happened? Verse 28, Nebuchadnezzar said, oh, Shadrach, oh, Meshach, oh, Abednego. Let's praise Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and praise them. No, he said, blessed be the God of them. God received the glory. of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel and delivered his servant that trusted in him. And they yielded their bodies because they didn't worship other gods rather than their God. They preferred to give their own bodies. We can see nowadays that people something happens and they are cutting their nails to give to the devil. No, they say, all his body for his God before serving another person. That's the Christian, that is the Son of God in the midst of fire. That is what God takes a man or a woman that is up to all the things to God. Because he's not going to change for someone or for something. Nebuchadnezzar, that person can see how God keeps them. Now, I decree that every nation, language, which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I will kill him. Now, he said, worship the God of his God, or I will kill you. Now, his own people, a pagan people, because the Babylonians were terrible in his worships to Baal. If you can study, they were terrible people. Now, his king is saying, it doesn't matter. You are going to worship the God of this man. The furnace is on still. And they are not going to deliver you because you don't want to worship him, because their God is greater than my God. Their God is the real God. God receives the glory. And what happened? Step number 6, the end of the process. God bless you and exalts you. In verse 30, we can see, then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. The other thing was the people of the palace, knowing that they are eating vegetables and water, and nobody knows it. But this was done in front of the people. Because his word said, God will honor the ones that honor him. Imagine this. It is you against Colombia. And all Colombia is watching you. Why don't you want to accept abortion? Why don't you want to accept homosexuality? Times has changed. Why are you like that? Honor God, my brother. Honor God, my sister, that in a due time, God is going to honor you. He is going to do this favor. He is not going to hold something against him. After all the big process, the great process starts. The big purpose of God starts. But because after these verses, we cannot see that the Bible speaks more about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But God, what is the purpose? This situation was, my brother, what God used as his business card. It was like that thing that God uses this to say, okay, don't do something to them because they are my child. It refers to Cyrus and Darius, the worshippers of God also, because it was that way in which God entered the Babylonian kingdom. Again, presence and freedom. But you say, what was the purpose? But there are things that you can see in that fire, and there are some other things that you are not going to see. But you are going to see them later. The disciples said, like, why? But God says, don't worry, son. You are going to understand it later. My brother, this is the sons of God in the midst of fire. And we can hold on that promise. We can hold on that promise. We can, when you go through the waters, I am with you. Brother or sister, that you are going through the waters. Because some people go through fire or others go through water. But there's a process that God wants to do with you. That you are feeling that you are drowning up. But don't worry, my brother, because God says when you go through the waters, I'm with you. And when you go through fire, it won't burn you. The testimony was so big that Nebuchadnezzar and his governor said it's amazing because we can smell anything. It was like his veil covered them. It was, God didn't come with a veil or something, a garment. It was just his presence. It is like that his presence is going to cover you through this process, through this situation, because God is with you. God is covering you with his mantle. You can see that they are walking, that they are moving. They were not ashamed. They were not there in their spiritual lives. And the devil said, even if I put them in the fire 7 times more, he still fasts and prays.
Siendo el mismo. Padre eterno, te damos gracias por esta tu palabra. Gracias, Señor, porque somos tus hijos y no quedamos exentos, Padre, de procesos en nuestras vidas, porque tú siempre quieres hacer algo mayor, porque tú siempre quieres hacer algo más hermoso.